Hi, everyone. I'm Patsy Egan, and this is my presentation on the Sage Collective for class. So this is a social enterprise built around a simple idea, driving design teams with insight, humility, and delight. So there's a profound contradiction in the creative industries, and we celebrate innovation, yet we treat experience as an expiration date. Experienced creative professionals can find themselves pushed aside at exactly the point when their judgment, pattern recognition, and institutional knowledge are deepest. The Sage Collective responds to that both as a business problem and as a human dignity problem. At its heart, this is a simple conviction. People do not become less worthy of meaningful participation, creativity, or belonging simply because they age. So creative industries have long had a strong bias toward youth, often equating innovation with being young or being a digital native, and that assumption has consequences. Experienced professionals can face shrinking opportunities, loss of income, and a rather exhausting expectation that they must continually reinvent themselves just to remain visible. But ageism is not simply inefficient, it's also a form of exclusion. It raises deeper questions. Whose knowledge counts? Whose gifts are welcomed? And who gets to remain visible and contributing? And clients lose too. So clients might be people who have a product they want to create and can take to market, an inventor or a company. And when seasoned professionals disappear from creative teams, organizations lose technical knowledge, they lose institutional memory, and the ability to anticipate problems before they become expensive. So ageism wastes human talent, but it also diminishes professional belonging. So the Sage Collective asks us to change that frame. Experience is not a liability, it is a form of design infrastructure. So years of practice can produce things that are difficult to teach quickly. Things like strong judgment in making sure the materials match the design, match the purpose, match the product. The knowledge of manufacturing and technical constraints, and even more so, the ability to hold lots of those constraints at once and be creative at the same time. The loss of that relational skill. These are muscles that get better with age. The ability to recognize when something looks promising but might fail later, that kind of anticipation that wisdom brings. This doesn't mean that older professionals are inherently better than younger ones. In fact, one of the SAGE's commitments is to age diverse collaboration. Younger professionals bring different knowledge, technologies, and perspectives, and experienced professionals bring accumulated judgment and expertise. The opportunity here is not to replace one generation with another, it is to stop unnecessarily removing experience from the room. So how does it work? The Sage Collective functions as a general contractor for innovation for product development. So at the center is a talent agent or a project coordinator. That's this hub, a person who develops client relationships, scopes out projects, recruits and vets professionals, assembles the right team, and then manages the contracts and drives that team toward delivery of whatever it is they are producing. Around that hub is a network of experienced industrial designers, engineers, ethnographic researchers, manufacturing experts, and intellectual property attorneys, the pieces of the puzzle that helped get a new product to market. So the process is pretty straightforward. Recruit, scope, assemble, deliver. For clients, Sage removes the difficulty of finding and coordinating multiple specialists. For participating professionals, it reduces the constant burden of self-promotion, selling, invoicing, repeated rejection. Like if you're trying to do this on your own, it is a lot of work. And that matters socially. Sage is not simply finding work for people, it is designing better conditions for participation, where experienced professionals can exercise agency, collaborate meaningfully, and then focus on their craft, on the thing they do best, which is design. So the Sage Collective has one model, but two forms of value. The experienced professionals, Sage offers a paid, meaningful work visibility, compensation, professional belonging, opportunities to lead and to mentor, and less dependence on constant self-marketing. For clients, it offers carefully assembled expert teams, one point of coordination, they're only having to deal with that one point person, reduced project risk, and access to knowledge that may take decades to develop. So I want to be clear, the SAGE Collective is not a charity. And that distinction is important. Dignity is not restored by treating experienced professionals as people who need to be rescued. It's restored by recognizing their gifts, compensating them fairly, and creating structures where they can continue to contribute. The social mission here and the business value are not competing with each other, they actually strengthen one another. So SAGE is designed to be primarily sustained through earned income. About 70% of revenue would come from consulting and project contracts. People come to them with a project and they fulfill that contract. Client revenue pays participating professionals, covers project expenses, and supports the coordinating infrastructure that makes the model work. Additional income from training, grants, public contracts, or sponsorships, or even awards can support activities that client fees might not fully cover, such as intergenerational mentoring is something that would be exciting to do perhaps with a local design school. Advocacy, recruitment, and impact measurement. The largest cost priority is fair, transparent compensation for participating creative professionals. And if SAGE eventually generates a surplus, that surplus is then reinvested rather than treated as an end in itself, strengthening financial reserves, creating more stable paid opportunities, improving member supports, expanding social programs, and then measuring that impact. In other words, the social justice commitment is built into the economics of the organization. Who gets hired, who gets paid, whose expertise is valued, and where the money goes. So ultimately, SAGE measures success across 3 dimensions. There's the economic. Are experienced professionals earning meaningful income and securing substantive projects? Then that's success. Professionally, are people experiencing renewed visibility, agency, connection, and belonging? And finally, cultural. Beyond the scope of those people touching this project or these projects themselves, are clients beginning to change their assumptions about age, creativity, and who belongs on an innovation team? The SAGE Collective challenges a culture that too easily treats people as disposable as they age. And it gives clients access to exceptional judgment while creating dignified pathways for experienced creative professionals to remain visible, compensated, connected, and contributing. Our next step would be to pilot an initial group of SAGEs, secure several client projects, and test both the business model and the social impact. The idea here is quite simple. Innovation doesn't have an expiration date, and neither does human dignity. So full disclosure, Gemini Notebook helped me create some of these slides, and these sources helped with the statistics. Thank you.